Hello, my friends. Welcome back to From Religion to Woohoo. This is your host, Angie, and I am an intuitive healer, energy reader, mindfulness and meditation coach and teacher, and also Reiki and sound healing practitioner. So I spend quite a bit of time just going inward and listening to my intuition. And this is something that I have come into being able to do a little bit easier as I progress and in my meditation practice in particular. But I also, as I was meditating this morning, I was really thinking about just trying to look into the future and what things I want to see happen in my life, and kind of doing some manifesting work, I guess. And what I think is really important to understand about manifesting into the future is that we can't forget about the present moment as well, and how important it is to be, present, basically. So I will explain this a little bit more because, in the realm of manifestation, there's a lot of focus on picturing yourself where you want to be. And that is exactly what you should do. However, you can't always get to where you want to be unless you are where you are. And a lot of times, to be where you are, you have to heal something that has come with you into the present moment. And, I was working with a client last night doing some healing work, and the week before I had encouraged her to kind of dig in and spend some time just reflecting on her life, her childhood, and then I had given her a inner child meditation to do. And when she came back, I was really encouraged by what she actually did with that meditation. She had a really positive response to it, but she took it to the next level where she kind of did some interviewing of her family about what her childhood was like, what she was like as a 5-year-old, what she was like, growing up, and the perspectives in her family from other people. And I think it's helpful sometimes to do, if you're in a safe environment, if your family is able to do that, I think it's okay. However, I don't, if you have kind of an unsafe relationship with some of your family, don't feel like you have to go back into this and dig through it, because it's really not that important. However, it does help, and it's at times it gives you clarity on why you are the way you are. Because every little thing that happens in our lives as children molds us into who we are as adults. And back in the 70s, 80s, prior, mental health was not as well known as it is now. And it wasn't as... You didn't notice as much when a child was going through anything. And I was talking with this woman last night that I'm working with, that I've actually known for a few years, and she's just a marvelous woman. I just think she's just great. And so I'm super excited for what's going to come next for her. But, there's a lot of things that we all hide within ourselves, so we hide within our bodies, that experiences, and that's what molds us into who we are. And then when we go into trying to live our life, those things that we've experienced actually come with us and kind of influence how we show up in these things. And so one of the things that has been, we've been working with on her is kind of keeping up with her schedule and being present in her work, but also just her daily life. And one of the things that, like, when you've been through any kind of trauma in your life, you likely have experienced some kind of a disassociation, and that disassociation will keep you from performing at the ability that you can. And you may not even realize it. I know I lived probably my entire life basically disassociated in some form. Like, there were times I would show up, I think, in my full self, but the reality of it was that I was living very disassociated from my own body, like not even feeling my body. And that's where some of, like, addictions come in for a lot of us, is because when you don't feel your body, your desire is to feel it. So when you're eating or using a substance or, anything else like that, like it brings up this feeling where it like heightens your ability to connect with the body in some ways, but it also numbs your emotions and your feelings. So I think about, like, when I'll just use, I encourage you to get my book, because you will read about this in my book, but I have struggled with eating all my life. And I remember, like, one of my very first food memories is when I was a child. And this was really hard moment for, like, it's funny that I still remember this, but I had to have been like maybe 2 or 3, not even that old. Like, maybe, I don't even know, like, if I don't know. My brother's 2 years younger than me. And like almost exactly, like, I'm born in April, he's born in May. And so, I don't even know if he was alive yet. I don't know. I can't tell you, but I remember I was eating popcorn in the living room, and I've always really enjoyed art and been kind of artistic. And my instinct was to take the popcorn and make a picture on the floor with it. Like, so I set the little corns, like the little popcorn little things, all over the floor, and designed, in my little mind, was this beautiful masterpiece of popcorn on the floor. Like, I saw this as this like art piece. And I remember my mom was there. I don't remember anybody else being present, but she was on the phone, and she turned to me and freaked out and like started yelling at me and saying, "No, you don't do that, and that's bad." And in my little head, I'm thinking, I just made a picture for you with this popcorn. Like, I was so proud of my little popcorn picture that I made. But to her, it was a mess. I had made a mess on the floor. And so I was very, I felt a lot of shame. I felt, I actually remember this. I felt really bad about myself in that moment. And so I picked, I had to clean the popcorn up. I don't remember much after that, because I probably disassociated, because I felt that shame come into my body. And so these are things that, like, I don't think we think about that maybe impacted who we are even as adults. And so I find myself at times trying to, like, tiptoe around things or try not to cause problems because I'm afraid of the reaction that I'm going to get. And I'm coming out of that, thank God. I'm so appreciative. Like, I just freaking love my therapist. She's amazing, and she's helped me so much. But, like, I am doing a lot of work on my own. Like, I'm doing daily meditation. I'm doing my, like, inner child work, which she's helping me with also. Like, I'm doing, I'm just using a lot of holistic things to help heal my mind and connect back with my body. So I think at some point in my life, because I started to disconnect from my body, I turned to food. And there would be times where I would just eat and eat and eat and eat, and not even, like, I wouldn't ever feel full. And that's because I was not connected with my body, first of all. Like, I wasn't able to tell when my body was like, okay, you need to stop eating. And of course, I wasn't eating the correct foods to nourish my body as well. But there was a sensation of being present with my body as I would eat. So there's like, it's a hard thing to understand when you compare this, because our spirit is always present, whether we are connected with our spirit or not. Like, our body would cease to exist without the spirit. And however, the body is constantly trying to protect us because that's been trained to do that. Like, since a child, we've been trained to perform in a certain way. And then as you know, if you grow up, depending on what kind of home you grow up in, if you grow up in a home that teaches religion to you, you start to put that programming in your head. And then the programming of the school, and the programming of how you act around friends, and the program, like, there's just all these things that we add into our influence of who we are. And then we show up as that person as an adult. And we may not even understand some reactions that we have because we aren't able to remember the things that we experienced that molded us into the people we are. And so being able to take times where you quiet your mind and reconnect with your body, reconnect with your spirit, allow your mind to kind of just settle down, it will help you to form a deeper understanding of what is actually happening within you. Within, like, your spirit can bring these things back up so that you can remember them. And it's almost like when you start to put puzzle pieces together, it's like you are able to deconstruct that puzzle. And maybe one puzzle piece got put in, like, forced in, and now you know, oh, it fits in this place, not this place, kind of a thing. So I'm just thinking, like, I've been thinking a lot about, like, healing work and kind of reconnecting with my spirit and my body. And as I do that, I realize that there's a importance of being in touch with your intuition, which is our spirits. And to be in touch with that part of us, we have to be present in the now. And so when we're working on manifesting it's something into the future, if we're constantly focusing on that, we're going to be striving towards it. And we may get it. We may get to that point and succeed at what we're trying to, it's very likely we will. If we focus on something, we will likely get it, because that's the law of attraction. However, if we get there, we're not going to be satisfied because we didn't do the work where we are now. And being able to bring your healed self into the next phase of life, or the part of you that is able to handle that next part of your life that you're working towards, is going to be really important. So it's a balance of working towards something, your goals, manifesting, speaking it out, kind of visualizing what you want, but also allowing yourself to be present in the moment and doing the work now, which sometimes does require going back so that you can reconstruct and put those puzzle pieces back together the way they were meant to be. So it all works together, honestly. And in this spirit realm, like, if we were to separate ourselves from this body and this human mind and this ego, we would understand that time does not exist. Time is something that we have on earth because we actually just need it to be here in some form and way. Like, but you go to another culture, like a Buddhist culture, or the cultures that are not, I live in America, in the United States, and we are very fast paced. Like, everything is scheduled, and you know where you need to be, when you need to be there, and you're going to be there. And it's not polite to show up late, or it's not polite to show up early. It's like there's always these standards you live up to. But when I spent time in Southeast Asia, like I would set an appointment with somebody at like 3 o'clock to like, hang out or meet with them. And they would show up at like 7. And I remember I would be like, what the hell? Like, I had an appointment with you like 5 hours ago. And they just show up and be like, hey, I'm here. It would just be like nonchalant. And I'm just like, it just amazed me. And so I remember like I spent like total probably about, I don't know, like 6 to 7 months in Southeast Asia at different periods. And the last time I was there, I actually was able to start embracing the culture a little bit more, where I would relax. Like, and what I noticed when I started to relax was things flowed easy. And so if I were to say, I think about this woman that I became friends with there. Her name was V. I just absolutely loved her. She was the town that I stayed in the whole time I was there. She was the very first person I met when I got into this town, because I stopped at a restaurant she was working at, and just instant attraction to, like, our spirits just were like, I mean, she's probably my little soulmate, my Asian soulmate. And so I have not had any contact with her since I left. I know she wrote me some letters and things, but sadly, I've lost contact with her. And there was a language barrier, and she would write me a letter, and I didn't understand because I couldn't read it, But she was just so adorable. So I met this woman, and we became just instant, like, friends. And but what I noticed is, like, she was in her culture understanding where it was just kind of relaxed and not, you're just in the present moment, which is very, the philosophy of Buddhism is focused on being in the present moment. And so it's no wonder that's how she was, because I was programmed in the, you show up and you get there on time and you do this, and the way that you perform is how you are valued. And, it's just very pressured, and it causes a lot of anxiety in us. But as I moved into this culture a little bit more, what I noticed is that when I would say, hey, I'll meet you at this time, instead of her showing up like 5 hours later, she actually started showing up closer to the time that we would set. And, I think back to this time where when I started to embrace the present moment and be more relaxed, it was almost like I was taking back the resistance that I was putting out, like that manifestation, the attraction, the law of attraction of that anxious feeling. Because when you're putting out the energy of anxiousness or worry or control, like that energy is very toxic. Like if we actually could see energy, like with our eyes and like around us, see the colors, see, what it looks like. I in my meditations, I've experienced this, but I really think that we would see like this flowing aura of light that is very like rainbow light, like just beautiful colors that are just like orb like just a flowing energy. And then when we send out, like, we create the darkness in our ego, we create these gray areas basically in the energy through our thoughts and our, how we manifest things into life basically. So if we were to see the energy that I was putting out with the control and the anxious feelings and like having to perform in a certain way, like I'm sending out this stagnant gray energy into the realm of the, spiritual, universal, divine energy. And it's causing, like things to not manifest or them to become stuck, because there's not a flow in that energy. There's not a release in that energy. And so, being able to be present and just allow actually bring things quicker to you. And But to do that, you have to be able to understand why you are feeling the way you are to put out that energy. So just like I said, like I had, if you've read my book, you will see that I've had quite a bit of trauma in my life. And so there's no wonder that I have lived disassociated. There's no wonder that I have lived anxious. There's no wonder I have PTSD, and I've had depression at times, and I've had like all these negative energies in my body. But as I release these energies, as I heal these energies, as I allow myself to even see them, I can release them. And I believe that as I release them, the energies of love and the abundant energy can actually absorb them and heal it. And so I can align with my true self, with my spirit self. And so bringing back into the present moment is going to actually enhance what you want to happen in the future. And we can't, one of the things that I have come to understand in my own spirit and in my calling is that I get a lot of intuitive messages about what was actually trying to be taught by our those that we consider to be higher spirits or influence. So Jesus, Buddha, Dalai Lama, like all these things, all these humans, like these spirits that came into this human form to teach us how to reconnect with this part of ourselves. And one of the things that Jesus taught was that we should focus on the log in our eye and not the speck in somebody else's. And then there was a teaching about you look in the mirror and you walk away and forget what you look like. And I think those are very valuable teachings to keep present in our mind as we go through any kind of healing work, because a lot of us don't spend time actually looking in the mirror. And I don't mean like physically getting a mirror and looking. I mean, I think that's probably an important part of maybe healing as well, because you're able to see, I think it helps in some sense of being more present in your body in the way. But the reality of it is like we always look in the mirror to correct something or to look a certain way on the outside. But we don't take the mirror and reflect on the inside. We don't reflect on the big log we have in our eye. We tend to look and see like what we want to see in the mirror, and then if we see something off, we fix it, or we put makeup on it, or we move our hair a certain way. And then like even putting our clothes on, we'll go and look in the mirror and be like, does this look good? Am I going to appear to look good today in the world? Well, what do I see that makes me look good? When really we do not have the same perspective as anybody else in the world. Like I could look in the mirror and be like, oh my God, I'm so ugly. And then somebody else could look at me and be like, gosh, you're beautiful, like, or I could think I'm just marvelous and beautiful. And everybody else could be like, wow, she is, got some issues. But, reality of it is like, we are all so unique that as we try to create our mindset and mold it into this human experience, we are so focused on what other people think and how they view us that we don't really take the time to go inward and look at ourselves. It's because we're always trying to perform and show up and be something, because we're either like, I have this goal I want to succeed at, or I have this, or, you're always trying to perform in some way. But when you take that performance back and you live in the now moment, there's like, it just eases everything. And you can actually take moments where you can appreciate where you are, where you've come from, and where you're going. And it all works together, because time There is no time based in this part of our reality. So coming out of like a mindset of religion where you're constantly having to live up to the standard to be accepted by God, or, you know, you're going to go to hell. If you add all that stuff on top of this, it just adds another layer. And so we are those of us have had this religious mindset or program on top of all of our life experiences and our traumas and all this. We're constantly trying to be good enough. And, you know, I think back to when I was still in church, I had, you know, one of my really dear friends that, you know, I kind of lost touch with since I've walked away from the church setting. You know, she's still very present within it. I think about her. She's been coming up in my mind quite a bit lately, and she's a beautiful, she has the most marvelous voice. I don't know why. I just attract people that are really good at singing in my life. I love to sing. Maybe I'm a good singer. I don't know. But I just, for some reason, I find myself around, especially women that are just freaking amazing singers. I could just sit and listen and be like, it just makes my spirit so happy when I'm around like beautiful singers. And so she is just amazing. And but her mindset was so like focused on the negative, like in how she performed and how she showed up, and it was always about how other people would see and hear her instead of just embracing this gift that she had. And it always kind of made me sad because I'm just like, gosh, it's so beautiful, like it's just flawless. And, you know, here I am trying to like not sound like a cow when I sing or something like that, you know? I'm sure it's not that bad. Like, I've been told I'm a good singer, but it's that whole mindset. Like, that's just not my gifting. Like, it's not completely natural for me, but I love to do it. There are people that do have that natural gift though. So, you know, but I have a different gifting that I can manifest into the world, and I don't have to put myself in those shoes where I'm trying to be that person. But instead of, you know, what I think is sad is when we are in this mindset of always trying to perform and be good enough, yet we have all these goals we want to work towards. We're creating this conflicting energy within ourselves and within our future and our present, where we're trying to be something right now so we can get to the next thing, instead of just being present and allowing ourselves to be in the now without having to perform or worry about the specks in other people's eyes or whatever. And so it all works together. It all is, I feel like I'm sharing a lot of information right now that can be kind of overwhelming, because I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. So I'm sensing in my own intuition, as I am in touch with it, that maybe other people are going to feel kind of overwhelmed by this. And so let me pull it back a little bit and just say that the key to this is being in the moment, being in touch with your own body, your spirit, and allowing that part of yourself to pull up anything that needs to be healed, and just don't force it. Just, there's a lot of, it truly is about allowing. And then focus on your goals, focus on the future, focus on what you want to see happen, but don't put the energy out towards that of the control or anxiousness, because reality, it may be that thing that you desire, it actually could be part of your future, but on the other hand, it could actually, you could find yourself in a completely different place, like me, like I am finding myself, and it be so much better. I would have never, if you would have asked me 4 years ago if I would be in this place I am now, even 2 years ago, I would have been like, no. But within my spirit, there was something that knew this is where I was going to go. But in my mind, I didn't. I didn't see myself, I didn't even have a positive view of myself up until the recent years. And I still am working on it. There's still parts of me that are, this is a lifelong journey. You're never going to be completely healed while you are on earth. So we have to be very kind with ourselves in this process too, to understand that perfection and getting to that point where you're completely healed is just not even, we just need to get that completely out of our mind. However, we can get to the point where we just feel present and good all the time, where we're not reacting to things, which seems impossible when you haven't got there. But I see many people in my life that have done the work, and it's just encouraging. Like, I think about my therapist, and I don't know her on a personal level where I spend time with her, but in the times I do spend with her, like, I see that in her. And so that encourages me to get to the point where I would like to be, because, I write in my book about how as a healer, you really need to do the healing yourself. But that's the same thing in anything in our life. If you want to be the best, baker, you gotta learn how to bake now. So it all works together. Anyways, this is getting long, so I am going to just let you chew on that for a little bit. And of course, I am here if you want to reach out. I have gotten my healing program. I've gotten halfway through creating it. It's taking a little bit more work than I anticipated, but I'm getting there. And I'm super excited because I actually think I have direction now. It's been completely changed. It's not going to be an 8-week program like I originally thought it would be. As I worked on this, my intuition, and I connect with my spirit, it is going to be a 6-week program instead. And so when I get this completely done, I will start to allow people to enroll into it, and we can work together. So until then, just keep it in mind and keep working on being the best you, or not working on it. Just be you. Just be you. Okay. I take back that work part, but yes, there is work in it. So it's a balance though. So instead of just rambling on, because apparently I like to talk today, I am going to say goodbye, and I'm going to wish you the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you that you listen to this. I send you all the universal love that there is.